holded by Mr. Kira D. Kali as a state attorney, as one of FIB agent at this moment called Mr. Davis Schofield complain against one of a CHP officer that he got illegal fines near casino area, and she confirmed me is the casino area is under coverage of LSPD area or not, and I confirmed her yes it's undercover, and SHB until this moment not allowed to come to this area without urgent call or dropped a 911 call or something like that. So depending on your speeching, if Z was patrolling, normally patrolling and giving fines at this period of time, so it's against the law. Then I offered to Mrs. Ava. I told her if this case file or subpoena, whatever you saying to me, will holding by court trial. So it's a pleasure from my side to come and provide any kind of proofs or evidences according to this matter. And we thankful and she left. Next day on 14 January, we received a call from Mrs. Ava Marilli through the department that she asked me personally to come to the court without informing me which kind of court is holding up. Court hearing or court trial or I don't know. So I complied to their department and I went with my deputy and 2 units more, I think so. After that, I noticed that Mrs. Ava asked for attendance from SHB side. So I was here to. So at this moment, I am sure that this matter is belonging to the same matter which Mrs. Ava explained to me about the fines. When we reached to the court, we find Mr. Rick James standing in your same place, my honor, holding this court, and he asked us in the first, did we sign any cooperation contract between LSPD and SHB? I confirmed him no, and I confirmed him also the situation of the complaint from the government about this matter. Depend according to this case, FIB agent, and we are here to provide any kind of evidences of that. But after the court is holding and the SHB side attend as well, we discovered it was a court hearing between LSPD and the SHB without asking us did we or asking that we need a court hearing as we acting like a party as this court. We didn't ask for a court hearing, and I think SHB side also is here represented by Mr. Sheriff, Mr. Jamesy. He can confirm it also this matter also. And at the end of the day, yes, James, I will let you speak. And in the end of the day, I met Mr. Rick James in the DOC, and he provided me a paper, asked me to sign. When I checked this paper, it was kind of a settlement or kind of agreement with both sides of party, LSPD and SAHB, that both of us stipulate that neither agency shall operate within or interfere with the jurisdiction of the other. Both parties are bound to respect this mutual understanding to ensure the effective functioning of their representative responsibilities. And he signed on this paper, and he seeking for my sign and Mr. Sheriff sign. I refused to sign. And today, when I seeking for a meeting with Mr. Attorney General to explain this matter, I found that this paper has been not revoked but has been deleted. This paper considering an evidences inside this, and it has been deleted. But For good luck, when Mr. Frick sent this paper to me, soft copy, I making a copy of this soft copy, and I keep it to representative to the court if the court asked me to showing as well. Thank you. That's from my side, Mr. My honor.
Thank you very much. Now that we have that statement, the court will request the enabler or the facilitator of what took place, District Court Judge Rick James, Mr. James, to everything that you've heard so far. I'm certain that you have a stance to provide. This is your opportunity.
All right, Your Honor. So, on the day in question, the DG and the chief of staff of the government approached my bench and told me if I wanted to take part in a hearing between SAHP
I'm sorry.
and
Who approached you?
the deputy governor and the
Okay.
chief of staff of the government. That will
Okay.
be Eva Marelli and Ira De Cali.
All right.
They both approached me and told me that if I wanted to oversee the matter between SAHP and LSPD, I never compelled anybody to my courtroom, given that by the time I looked up, because I was handling another matter of paperwork, which I was doing, by the time I looked up, Mr. Abu Saif was already in the courtroom willingly. Never had an objection to being in the courtroom. So therefore, I didn't ask any questions besides just asking if he had anything to say about it and if the SHP and him signed any agreement of them seeing each other. And to the point of him making that I did create a paper of an agreement of SAHP and LSPD to stay outside of the jurisdiction and not to patrol each other's jurisdictions and any of that. Mr. Abu Saif agreed that he wanted to have the he wanted to agree with the request of uh, the court to have each other stay away from the. After that, I went to DOC. I saw him there. I already had written the paper uh, of the agreement, so we could have it drafted in each other's departments, so all officers will be aware of the situation. What appels me is the kind of resistance that Mr. Abu Saif had after the fact, instead of having the resistance in the court. Um, in other words, he just actually agreed in the court, and then after that, wanted to make a big deal out of something that was agreed in court. And I do have the evidence of the agreed parties, both of them agreeing to the situation. I just don't understand how come after they agreed on something, now they want to disagree and move the court to have a hearing on something that was only a hearing and therefore doesn't really have any validation of any kind. Since they both did agree to having this agreement, I don't understand what seems to be the issue or continuing issue of this matter. And I don't even understand why I'm being a subject question here when I never compelled anybody in the courtroom. I
Mr.
always
James,
had everybody come in here
you
willingly.
you claimed that they both agreed to signing said
Yes,
document,
yes.
and you also stated that
And
you
my honor,
are you objecting?
and as you told us, my honor, there is kind of objection in hearing, but I try to
No, 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 no,
explain
no.
this part.
You can object, and then so I eliminated the opening statements just to be on the safe side. You are allowed to object, but since
Okay, thank you, my
but that
honor.
is not to opening statements. We've waived
Yeah, yeah,
opening
sure.
statements and we went straight to direct examination.
I wanted to object about what Mr. Rick said in the approval of this paper.
Okay.
Approval on this paper meaning that we signed this paper, but we didn't. Second
Yes,
of
we did.
all,
I have proof of that. Do not
we
call
did
me
that
a
we
liar in my
signed.
own courtroom.
Okay.
Uh,
Do not call me a liar in my own
He's
courtroom.
still objecting, so I have to hear the objection first. Go ahead and
so,
continue.
my honor, yes, thank you. I didn't, and I am sure that I didn't sign on this paper which Mr. Rick make. And proof of that, this paper has been deleted by Mr. Rick and not published at LSPD or SAHB section on government.
Very
And
well.
Mr. James can also confirm it that he didn't sign this paper. Second of all, that the meaning of we attend is that we respect the court, not meaning that we approved in the matter inside the court.
Sure.
The meaning that we attend, Mr. Rick, that we attend for inspection for the court of San Andres only. Of course, we agree about your speech before you making this court because already there is no cooperation sign between LSPD and the SHB. So you didn't addition anything new in this matter.
So
But
then,
when we informed that this court,
in order for me to
yes, my honor.
in order for me to either sustain or overrule the objection, I must allow the opposing party to provide evidence if they so wish to do so. So, in order for me to prove or sustain or overrule, Rick James, you wish to provide quote unquote proof that the agreement was agreed to, although no signature exists
Yes.
and although no such document exists. Are you claiming
Your
that the
Honor.
agreement was agreed to in the form of an oral agreement?
Excuse me, my honor, but NG is attending and this court hearing is not for NG
Where is NG?
and in the voice chat.
NG, you must leave immediately. Now,
Okay, is there any problem?
leave!
Why are you reacting like this?
Exit the
Sir, I need to
courtroom.
move to go.
Yeah, it's okay, but why are
Let
you
me
It is
reacting
help
like
you.
this?
it
Let
is
me
a
help
closed
you.
hearing.
All right. Uh, please do continue with any proof that you have.
Your Honor, I will be asking for some time to look for the evidence.
No problem.
And may I add that um, before we agree to anything, and when he approached the bench, uh, he was asked if he wanted this hearing, and he said yes.
And
So,
do you have
therefore, I
that?
wanted
Objection, my
to.
honor. Objection, my honor.
I was just adding something. I would be showing the proof. You could object
There,
once I
there,
show the proof.
there's an objection being made to. What is that objection?
Yes, yes. I was thinking this court was court hearing, but between two parties, government and the SHB, not between LSPD and the SHB.
So,
That's what I was approved, my honor.
okay, so if the parties then, according to your rationale, is between government and SAHP, why would there be a need for a third party signature.
It's my turn or Mr. Rick? This question to
No,
whom is my honor?
yours.
Me. Yes. Until the end of the court, I was completely sure that this court, however, it's a court hearing or court trial, the two parties is government and SAHB. I got the true knowledge when Mr. Rick tried to pass this paper to me inside the DOC to sign that I discovered at this moment this court was court hearing between LSPD and the SAHB. I can confirm it completely sure, my honor. LSPD is not a party of this court. We didn't ask for a court hearing, by the way.
Right. So just like you mentioned, if according to your knowledge you were under the understanding that the parties involved were only SAHP and government, why would your signature be requested if you were under the impression that you were not a party to it? What?
Exactly, my honor.
So then, why would a signature be requested of you?
Yes, that's what I'm requesting now, court hearing explanation this matter from Mr. Rick James at this point.
Rick James, have you found that evidence that you claim to have?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you be
I
able?
have the whole hearing.
Well, we don't want to see the entire hearing. We would like to see the exclusive part where some form of an agreement was made orally, verbally.
Alright, give me a second.
Would you require additional time? For the meantime, the next party can be provided with an opportunity, or do you have that ready?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll return back to that point. The court is now understanding that the district court was acting under the request of the deputy governor and chief of staff. So the court, the district court, agrees to have that hearing, but fails to inform at least one of the parties the reason why they were summoned. The district,
Uh,
yes,
what was the date again for the
15th.
Okay.
So, although the district court is not the summoning party, the court should have been the summoning party. However, the summoning party was the deputy governor, which instead of a command issued a request. And I remember said request ended with please. When the court makes a command compelling appearance of a party, it does not say please. The court, as Mr. Jemsey can confess to, as he was compelled to appear today in court, very simply stated, I said, Sheriff, you are hereby commanded to appear before the Supreme Court. That's it.
Yep, that's true.
Which he complied to shortly thereafter. So Abu Saif is confused as to If his appearance is being compelled to appear, why wasn't it done through the proper channels or by the proper person? The only one that can compel anyone to appear before the court is the presiding officer of the court. Nonetheless, maybe they were assuming that they were delegated by the court to compel an appearance. I don't know what the case may have been. Nonetheless, an explanation for that is also sought after by the movement Abu Saif. Moving forward to the next party, Kira de Kali, the district court claims that you were one of the requesters of said hearing. You already know what information is being requested of you, as it was initially the same for Eva Marelli. However, Ms. Eva Marelli has failed to provide an explanation. So before we move to Mr. Kira, Eva Marelli, you were asked initially what led you to move the court to such complaint. We are still waiting for that. Whenever you're ready, you may provide your response.
Yes, Your Honor. So it was brought to my attention by an FIB officer named David Scarfield that he saw SHP officers at the casino. Then, after we decided to after the whole thing, we filled out the subpoena, but we decided in the end we would compensate Dave and take a different route. That's when we went to go and speak to Rick, and then Rick was like, "Yeah, we can do the hearing." So I then asked, not a request, or not like telling him, forcing him to come to the court. I asked him, "Can you please come to the court?" Which he said he's on his way. Then, when we got into the courtroom, Rick then asked him if he would like this hearing, to which he said yes. And then he also asked if we could make it a closed court. And then I asked SHP if they could come to court, and SHP deputy was there at court. And I wasn't forcing them, I just said, "Can they?" And they both agreed.
Objection,
And
my honor.
we informed
What's the
one of them.
basis of that objection?
Okay. Objection on the part is that when Mrs. Ava mentioned that I asked for the court is court hearing, then I said yes. Then I said yes, depending on her request that she have a case file, depending on FIB against SAHP, and I offered her in my chief office if she need any kind of help in her case that I will provide. And when I asked this court, it will be closed because, as you know, my honor, some information will be provided maybe under classification information that not shared to the civilians. So that's why I am asked to this court is being closed. By the way, Mrs. Ava can confirm it to you, my honor, that she didn't inform me that it will be a court hearing between LSPD and the SHB. And I think Sheriff of SHB also here. You can ask him as well about this matter. Thank you.
All right, so before I allow a rebuttal to Miss Marelli, Sheriff Jamesy, is that statement correct?
Yes, that is totally correct, and I would also like to add to the knowledge of the court that there was no piece of paper signed by the SHP, the papers that you guys were talking earlier,
Okay,
made by Mr. Rick James.
okay.
We didn't sign that.
So according to Mr. Rabu, he's under the impression that this hearing is FIB versus SAHP. Is that correct, Mr. Rabu?
Yes, my honor.
Okay.
And I wanna to addition a little part if you give me a permission,
Yeah,
please. So
just a second, so that we can
okay,
properly conclude with each point and not become
okay.
scattered. Eva Marelli, did you ever inform Abu Saif that this case was pertaining to FIB versus SAHP?
No, Your Honor, I never informed him saying that it was between FIB and SHP. What I did what Rick informed him was that that it was going to be a hearing between him and SHP.
Objection, my honor.
So then, Mr. Rabo, how did that impression come to existence?
So my honor, I think, and you have more knowledge than me. Every that the court hearing must be holding up after requesting from any parties of them. So, according to Mrs. Ava's speech, if this court hearing between LSPD and the SHB, LSPD from my side didn't ask for a court hearing. Also, SAHB didn't ask for a court hearing. So, how Mrs. Ava, representative by Deputy Governor from government, ask a court hearing between LSPD and the SAHB? It's
So,
completely against the law, my honor.
so, if I'm understanding you correctly, what you have just said is that the reason why you are under the impression that this case is between FIB and SAHP is because you yourself have not requested to be part of it, and therefore it cannot have anything to do
Exactly, my
with
honor.
your organization. That's why you're under that
Exactly, my
impression.
honor.
Okay.
Exactly, my honor.
All right. So, Ms. Ava, when did you inform Mr. Abu Saif of the reason or the purpose or under what capacity he was summoned before the court?
Your Honor, was actually Rick. Rick informed him that it was a hearing between SHP and LSP. Rick even said it multiple times, and he kept asking Abu if he wanted a hearing. Rick can even say for himself that he did, because when I spoke to Rick afterwards to make sure,
We
he
have to.
My
told me
We
honor.
have
that
to. We
Objection,
have
my
to.
honor.
Hold on. We have to make sure that you're answering only the question, and you must do so in a direct manner.
okay, so I didn't inform him. That was Rick.
Thank
Rick
you.
informed him on the
That's all.
situation.
That's all that's necessary.
Objection, my honor.
Okay. What's the basis?
Mr. Rick didn't inform me in direct way that it's a court hearing between LSPD and SAHP. He informed me it's a court hearing. He didn't mention the boss of party, and I have evidences that I didn't recognize this court is for hearing for three matters. First of all, we didn't take the blindfold places here inside the court hearing. Second of all, I mentioned to Mr. Rick the situation between me and Mrs. Ava that I received a complaint from government side and I am giving a help if they needed in their court. And the third part that I wanted to mention that um, I lost the third part now, but
That's why we have
I'm
to.
apologize, my honor, but I
That's
lost
okay.
the third part now.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. Let's, in
Your Honor.
order for people to not become scatterbrained, please
My
add.
honor, I remembered. Yes, when Mr. Rick offered me to his by saying, "Did you know, Mr. Abu, that you can sue SAHP in a court?" I confirmed it to Mr. Rick. Yes, I know, but I don't have fully information about this matter, and I am here depending on the complaint from the government side.
Understood. Mm, Mr. James,
Oh yeah. Yes, Your Honor.
It appears that through that statement, you stepped outside of your role as a judge and temporarily assumed legal counsel responsibilities
As to what?
as to a lawyer.
What do you mean?
You cannot
I
suggest
didn't.
you cannot suggest which course of action people should take. That must be a lawyer who presents it or the party themselves. The court is here to hear, not to suggest, right?
It was not a suggestion, Your Honor. I was telling Mr. Abu Saif what could happen instead of having a hearing, if that's what he wanted.
That right.
Because
But that
obviously,
is the responsibility of an attorney.
yeah, I never said I was going to represent him. I'm not an attorney. I am a judge. I never suggested to him that I was going to represent him on a suing matter. And if it was a suing matter, I think that is the matter for the Supreme Court to handle, not me.
When you initiated the hearing, did you inform all parties as to why they were present before the court?
Yes,
And did you inform each party in what capacity they were appearing as?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Did you inform Mr. Abu Saif that he would be representing himself in the capacity of a complainant?
Uh, when we was in the courtroom, I asked him uh, of the matter that we had in hand, and I told him that what he wanted to do.
Objection,
And
my honor.
What's the basis?
Basis on for my full inspection to Mr. District Court Judge Mr. Rick James. He is not allowed to inform me what's my restricted area and what's SHB restricted area. And this paper which he made that prevent a legal paper that preventing us to signing any kind of contract between LSPD and the SHB, because if we signed any kind of paper between the two organizations, so it will be against the judicial order by Mr. Rick, who asked us to sign this paper to not entering the other coverage area between the both sides. Thank you.
All right, I see very clearly what is happening here. Um, I have a very, very good understanding of what each party is representing with their statements. However, we have yet to hear Mr. Kida and any argument he may present. I have written down the stance of each party, and before we conclude, in due time, I'd like to hear first a statement from Kida, then a statement from the Attorney General, then following a resolution potential, and lastly, a conclusion. So, next, Mr. Kida.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Your Honor. To all of this dispute and misunderstanding, the only thing that I can add and give out as free knowledge to everybody here, as well as for Mr. Abo, is that the only reason I was present at that situation is because I was acting as a legal help to Miss Deputy Governor, which holds a total right to, by any means necessary, end a dispute in a political way between two organizations. I see nothing wrong with that, and that's why we chose to take that course of action. If you didn't like it,
Uh,
I
uh, 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 uh,
apologize for you not liking legal process, but that is it. Thank you.
So, Mr. Kira, you claim that your stance was merely a stance of legal counsel. You were not a movement to any act, but rather there to represent the interests of Eva Marelli. Is that right?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Not only the deputy governor, but the government itself
That's
as an
that's
organization
that's
representing the government.
that is. Now we're going
Thank you.
somewhere. Kira De Kali, you are exonerated from being a party to this claim whatsoever. Your capacity was not that
Thank you.
of an instigator. Your capacity was not that of a facilitator. You are not subject to any agreements to this hearing. If you wish to remain until the conclusion, you may, but you don't have to. Now that we've heard all
If I may, Your Honor.
parties, excuse me?
If I may, Your Honor.
Oh, so I
I have
explained the
the proof.
structure. I'm sorry.
I have the proof that you asked me.
Okay, before we move to hear the Attorney General, let's go ahead and see what it is you have. Please.
About I thought that I'm not a party to this, and I was just
You are not a party. However, if you understand your role, which I don't mean to undermine in any way, don't get me wrong, uh, you are the highest representative and counselor to government. So, if in any way you wish to provide insight, you know that the Supreme Court always provides an opportunity for all judiciary that is not involved to provide an intervention if they so see fit, so long as they are not a party to the suit. The projector is opened, I can see. And I'm seeing an African American lady there. Uh,
I have the conversation
okay.
in which we were speaking in the Discord.
Okay, and this is
This is the agreement of Mr. Abu Saif and John C. to
properly,
agree to sign this petition
Objection,
for.
my honor.
yes.
Oh my God, bro.
We are seeking for this. He mentioned some Discord. I'm asking for proved valid evidences. If he wanted to provide
Yeah,
even
of course,
evidences, it
of
must be
course.
proved
Mm.
inside the court,
Sure.
not in. So that I wanted to make sure about that. Thank you.
It's
So,
easy.
so
You could go back to your own evidence and look at your own evidence. I'm showing my evidence of what I have of you agreeing to it. We didn't
Objection, my
sign
honor.
any
I'm
agreement.
asking
There
Mr.
you
Rick
go,
James.
bro. You don't let nobody finish.
this I will not allow this.
also me no anybody if you guys start doing this is there's no discussion that we can do like this.
So how are we gonna have a discussion when the party
The
involved does not
best
let the
the
opponent
best
finish?
way, the best way to handle this scenario, I shouldn't have to tell a judge that, is if someone is trying to overpower you, you stay silent and you let someone else do their job.
In my regard,
Not
I will, I
anymore.
will, I will tell you, I will tell you one my honest opinion. What you should do. That's why this is a court hearing because I think if you were in a closed room and discussed with each other, you wouldn't have find a solution. So talk through the judge. That's the best solution. Let the judge talk through the judge like you are talking through. That's best. Do not do comments on each other. So that
That's
will be
my simple request, my honor, that I hope all parties move their words to you, not together, sir. So if I wanted to say something or object on something,
Let us then proceed.
Your Honor, if
Now
we have a conversation,
I want to clarify that the evidence you propose for viewing is evidence that is deemed admissible. That's it. That was in the form of a question. A simple yes or no will do. Okay.
was that a question to me, Your Honor?
Yes.
Can you repeat the question?
Is the footage that you propose for viewing properly validated or not?
No.
Okay. That's all I need to know. Mr. Abu Saif,
yes, my honor.
you have heard all parties present. I have heard, we have all heard, the opinion and stance of each party. It is my understanding that the entire reason behind the initiation of that hearing was on account and by origination of Eva Marelli, who witnessed an illegal act by her own definition and by the position she holds. She is compelled to do something about it. Maybe perhaps her decision and her approach to dealing with a particular problem was not necessarily the best decision. Perhaps in the heat of the moment and the unfairness she witnessed, perhaps could have clouded her judgment, and she sought out, to the best of her knowledge, the most quickest manner to deal with an act she witnessed. I will have everyone here know that the court is not a tool that is utilized for personal gain. The court is not a tool to be played with. The court is one of the most serious, honorable, and just places that exists in this entire state. I am not claiming that anyone has misused the court, because the court is here for that very same purpose. But there is a proper way to move the court. There is a proper way to initiate a session, and there is a proper way to communicate to each party the reasons why they are there. That is the least the court can do to inform each party. On account that this is a hearing, on account of the findings, before I provide my opinion, Mr. Rabo Saif, at this time, what do you deem a reasonable solution to be in accordance to your views and in accordance to your stance.
Can you just provide me just 2 minutes?
Yes, of course.
Thank you, sir.
As those 2 minutes elapse, I shall count. Does anyone wish to add any comments, any argument?
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, Your Honor. In the capacity that I hold as the district court, I do not appreciate any organization who comes into my courtroom and question the validity or the power that I hold. Therefore, I would appreciate that if anyone who is in my courtroom refrain themselves from questioning why am I here or
Uh,
why
I don't
am
want
I
to.
holding a hearing.
I don't want to interrupt your expression, uh, Mr. Rick James. I see where you're going, and I fully support, fully, without reservation, the stance of the court, the authority of the court, and the decorum and respect that the court not only requires but demands. I, I'm the first one for it. And that is why I passed an executive order. That executive order clearly outlined in very specific words, and if not clarified enough, I can happily and will very happily reiterate, quote unquote, the particular words that were employed. And that is, obligation. Any order issued by the court is a mandatory order unto any person subjected to the rule of law, regardless of immunity. That means if you have 2 feet, if you have a nose, if you have 2 lungs or 1 lung, if you eat, if you're alive, and you're considered human, you are subject to the rule of law. There is no more questioning the authority of the court. That is absolutely not something that is in question. With that executive order, it has become more than clear that punishment will follow regardless of position, regardless of immunity.
My honor.
May I ask a question to the Attorney General and the Supreme Court?
Is it directly related to this matter?
Yes, and any matter foreseen after this. Am I in any way forced to oversee any case? And I want to make this for the record. Am I forced to see any case that I'm not willing to see?
No.
Thank you. That's all for my part.
I would
Your Honor,
I
can I
would
say?
like just a second. I would like to provide an answer to that.
Yeah.
My answer is different. Uh, my answer is much more, or actually less complex than a simple no. If you have jurisdiction over the matter, yes. If you are a conflicted party or involved in any way, shape, or form, yes. Or rather, no. But if the law requires someone to mediate, the legislation is very direct with the people that administer the law. They are required under legislation to do so swiftly. So my answer differs slightly from. So the answer could be a yes or a no depending on the circumstance. Eva Marelli?
Your Honor, I'd like to ask, can because
You guys
can
walk
we
around.
see the evidence that Abu so wish to show
They're
us
sleeping.
that he has?
In regards
Can
to,
we of this matter, can
They're
we
sleeping.
see his body cam of this matter?
uh,
So, my honor, they denied of my blindfold.
I'm sorry,
They are denied my blindfold.
I don't
What that mean?
understand.
So the other party, Mrs. Ava, which is an can I which evidences according to which part they asked for the evidences?
Hmm?
I'm still,
Of
I'm still confused.
Um, Edward, can you translate, please?
okay, so
Excuse me, my honor, but this way of speech, Mr. Rick, it's considering a professional misconduct
In
that
court?
he's saying by translate. I'm speaking English, so if Mr. Rick try to provoking me in this kind of way, so I will asking my honor in this court will be turned or to court trial instead of court hearing.
You are
uh
more welcome to submit.
no, that
Do
that
not, stop
that is
it.
not what I'm here to imply. What I'm of what I just want the evidence on is us informing you, or at least some information on what is happening in, if that is in your body cam.
So,
Before providing
so,
any
so,
evidence, my honor,
so, I have to ensure that I understand what's being requested, and I'm still confused. Um, you're requesting evidence pertaining what again, Ava? Uh,
Of
mhm.
us informing him on the matter that we told him that that we are going, that we would if he would like to do a court hearing on that matter.
Okay. If I
my honor, can
understand,
I say something?
right, let me just reiterate to see if I'm understanding her. You're requesting that Abu Saif provides evidence or footage of what he claims that the court hearing was styled as LSPD versus SAHP, or
As his as yes, as LSPD versus SHP.
Objection, my honor. How
okay.
can I provide evidences depending on my complaint? I denied this. I have a knowledge here between LSPD and the SHB. And Mrs. Ava, she must prove it and evidences that we have a knowledge that we have a knowledge that this court between SHB and LSPD, not us.
Well, I'll inform you both that this is a hearing.
Objection, Your Honor.
In a hearing, just a second. In a hearing, the primary objective is not necessarily to view evidence. The primary objective is rather focused on an outcome, on a resolution. It appears to me that through this hearing, although in its middle stage, actually nearing the conclusion, we have failed to reach a mutually binding agreement based upon the requests that are being made now. Mr. Rabo is not compelled nor required to provide any evidence. Neither are you compelled to do so either. That is reserved for a trial. Nonetheless, it is my understanding that there's a whole lot of confusion as to who is who and what is what and who will do what. That is something that has to be clarified at the initial stages of any hearing. As you heard me initiate this session clearly, we are here gathered today for this reason and for this purpose. I informed each party what their roles and their stance would be. I informed everyone present who the movant or the requester of this hearing was and the reasons why. If a court hearing fails to do that very simple explanation, it has not established its power or its jurisdiction. The court must always express its dealings in a concise and clear manner, so that confusion is not part of the hearing. So, keeping faithfully to that attempt, if we have not managed to clarify at least some sort of stance here today, it's because it's either not been expressed directly, not by the court, but by the parties. So,
Your Honor,
yes,
I have
I
an
would like to
objection, Your Honor.
withdraw my request.
withdrawn.
Yes.
I will provide clarity. Now that it appears that no one has, I was expecting someone to do so in a clear manner. I shall take the stance then now and clarify. Was the process done properly and according to law? Not entirely. Perhaps the attempt was made through information that wasn't necessarily organized accordingly, or perhaps it was not properly established by the court. But one thing I will assure everyone here of is that although the court certainly has the power over the matter, oh, no doubt about it. Did it do so accordingly and justifiably, and did it do so successfully? Perhaps not. But if what is at question is whether the government itself can initiate proceedings on account of its own accord, yes, the government can initiate proceedings if it has witnessed the law being broken, even if it is not the will of a party. I will provide you a simple example. A citizen has made a phone call to the police. The citizen complains to the police, "Officer, my husband just beat me. He beat me. I don't want him to go to jail. I don't want him to get punished. I just want for him to stop beating me." The police says, "Don't worry about it. We will stop by and we will have a talk with him." The police gets there. When the police gets there, the police arrests the husband and throws him into prison. The wife clearly stated she did not want anything done to her husband, but the police nonetheless did it. Why? Because on account of a complaint, on account to a witness, it is no longer the witness versus the husband. It is the state versus the husband. The state has taken over the matter, and it is therefore now officially presented to the court. So, did Eva Morelli, did Kira De Cali have justifiable means and reasons to initiate the proceedings? Yes, they did. They have the authority to do so. But did they do so legally without the consent of the parties? They did so against consent. They did not have an explicit consent. Is that justifiable then? Can you do that? The government can. But unfortunately, they didn't follow proper protocol. They had a good intention. They had good intentions, but they didn't carry the procedure out according to law. And therefore, it reached nowhere. Did it waste time of those present? Sure. Sure. What can be done about the time? What can be done about the improper processes that were employed? Well, there are multiple ways that can be dealt with. I, however, am not a lawyer. I am a judge, so I cannot advise you on which actions you should take. But I can tell you that there are actions that can be pursued. Which, that I cannot tell you. That's up to a lawyer to discuss with you. Nonetheless, I will still allow for a mutually binding agreement if one can be sought after today, to be entertained and provided. So again, I would like to ask Mr. Rabo Saif if we are to assess what you have been subjected to go through these procedures and the time that you had to employ outside of your duties and obligations and focuses of your daily routines at LSPD, taken into account the inconveniences, what do you move the court to do next?
Okay, my honor, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the court for providing us their precious time, and I would like to not demand or ask, just a request from the defendant presented by Mrs. Ava and Mr. Kira. Uh, Submit and apologize uh, to us as a leader at LSPD and the SCB for this confusion and about this misunderstanding. I will considering that is misunderstanding which may lead to the ignition of a major dispute between the two organizations, which was they must inform us that this session will be court hearing between us and SHB, and we have the choice to agree or not. By the way, as for Mr. Rick James, he asked why he is here. Because the great responsibility falls on him because he is a judge. He knows very well that the judge doesn't establish a hearing court expect on the request of either parties. And he didn't, that's not happening because as we LSPD and SHB representative, my Mr. James here, can confirm it that we didn't ask for this.
So,
And he also based a court paper for us to sign it. And when he discovered this mistake, unfortunately he
That
deleted.
was not a mistake, Your Honor.
do
Objection.
not do not.
That was not a mistake.
What was not a mistake?
When I drafted the letter, they both agreed to sign a letter. It's in my body
I
cam, and he
don't.
has it also on
So
his body
so
cam.
I don't. I me personally do not doubt that somehow and somewhen something led you to believe that there was some sort of an agreement and that no opposition would arise of obtaining a signature. Okay? However, uh, I'm sorry to say that there is no proof to solidify before the court.
But he's accusing me of something,
No,
sir.
no, no, there is no accusations. Remember
He
that
just
this is
accused me
a
of making a
hearing.
mistake.
No, no,
He
there is.
accused me of
Do
making a
not
mistake.
misconstrue an accusation because this is a hearing. No criminal component can be brought forth in a hearing. That is reserved for a trial. I shouldn't have to remind that,
Yes,
but
sir.
uh, nonetheless, any accusations made herein are considered hearsay because it is not the forum for that process. So, even if it alludes or appear to seem like an implication that of an allegation, it, it simply isn't the forum for it. So, I would just not even going to provide any further justification. However, my understanding is now, based upon what I heard, that Abu Saif is requesting Abu Mareli and Rick James
No, no, no. I'm just requesting apologize from Mrs. Eva and
and
Miss Kira,
Kira.
and from my side, yes,
Okay.
from my side, I will accept that. That's enough for us,
No.
along with a pledge not to repeat this matter again. Okay, but for Mr. Rick, I see, sir, with my full respect, that if you let me to say that he must review his legal information by yours, Mr. Attorney General and Mr. Supreme Court Judge, because before he takes on the responsibility of governance of justice among the people or the civilians, Mr. Rex, his way of speaking or his style during this trial doesn't reach to the
This is not a trial. This
professionalism
is a hearing.
enjoyed by the judge, as he threw it arbitrary accusation against me personally, my honor, that I claim that he is a
Objection, Your
lying
Honor. The only person that made accusations here was you. I never accused you of anything. And I
social.
am not a judge at this time.
Okay, my
I
honor,
am
thank you. I
just a
finished.
normal civilian.
All right. So it is then noted that the request of Abu Saif is to receive a formal apology for the inconveniences by Eva Marelli. However, Mr. Rabo, previously the court has ruled that
It's open to them, I honor. I am not
Oh,
forced
no,
to
no,
do
no, no.
so.
I understand very well.
Yeah, yeah,
No
yeah, yeah.
need to remind me. I am very well aware of the processes as I was the one to create said processes. However, the hearing determined that Kira Dekali was exonerated of all connections to the hearing, as his connection to the same was that of the capacity of legal counsel rather than a movement of the court at that time. So then I would rather attend to the request as an apology sought after by yourself from Eva Marelli. And secondly,
Mr. Kira Dikali.
he's exonerated. He was not a
About
movement.
Mr. Rick. Yeah, yeah. About Mr. Rick, according to what he appeared inside this court, so my honor, I'm apologize. I can't reach to settlement inside this court hearing
Okay.
with his behavior against me.
So you mean in reference to the DCJ?
Exactly, my honor.
Okay.
With my pleasure.
So you wish to seek remedial action through other means, or is that what I'm understanding?
It's up to you, honor. Fully up to you.
No, no, but I'm seeking
And I will.
clarification.
Yes, yes, yes. As a suitable decision that you will taking by your own, I will accept it with pleasure. By the way,
You mean as in the form of internal administrative procedures or through the legal realm?
it's a hard decision, sir, but I will leave it internally.
Okay. Uh, if. Okay. So then I clearly have your wishes for a mutually binding agreement. So then I will reiterate that next and seek a response from each party. Eva Marelli, the agreement sought after by the movement is in the sole form of an apology. You are by no means required to accept. However, if you do accept, it becomes a mutual agreement. And in this case, it's rather not even an agreement, but rather a request from your end. How you move about that request is completely up to you. Um, but do bear in mind that since that is the only request that is sought after, if it's not one that you find agreeable to, then a second attempt will be made to seek another agreement, and if a second attempt also fails, the court's hearing shall come to an end. So, I ask you hereby now, at the request of the movement, do you accept and agree to the mutually binding term in the form of an apology? Your response is now anxiously awaited.
Yana, I don't agree.
Okay? As to
Appreciate it, and I don't need more, my honor. It's enough for Mrs.
okay, as to the second request pertaining to the district court judge, the request is actually made to Attorney General. Attorney General, do you accept and agree as to the term of dealing with any further acts pertaining the district court for you to deal accordingly and internally?
Yes, I will make sure that my DCJ understands that the
You're
court
not you're
is.
not you're not required, sorry, you're not required to disclose how, when, or what act is taken. A simple yes, I agree and accept, or a simple no, I disagree and reject. Answer.
I agree, of
Thank you.
course.
The first request was declined by the party, Ava Marelli.
I have the one question to the court
Yes.
before.
Yes.
So my question is, now that I have agreed with Mr. Abbo to solve this matter with my DCJ internally, and to make sure that we understand this thing from our every perspective and solve this. Now I can like assume that Mr. Rick James is not a party here anymore. Now that is mutually binded.
Correct.
Thank you.
But pertaining to the first request, that was declined. And so, to a direct response to that declination was no further attempts by the movement is necessary. That leaves the court with the following question: do you seek, or do you entertain to seek, another means of remedial action? Mr. Rabo.
Yes, my honor, my bad. Yeah, I'm with you, sir.
Since your first request to Eva Marelli was declined, and you stated that you seek no other binding agreement, that leaves the court with the following question: are you seeking remedial acts or remedial actions through any other means?
So Mrs. Ava declined to apologize, right?
Correct.
But I think I heard her that she approved.
No. She said, sorry, Your Honor, but I decline.
She declined.
She declined your suggestive agreement.
So, in this case, my honor, it's my bad to say that, but it will be reviewed by Mr. Attorney General to review their immunity depending on our evidences according to this matter. And we will be preparing a case file according to this matter to all parties in a bench trial session. It will be leading by Supreme Court judge.
To which parties?
All the parties, sir.
Which parties?
Mrs. Ava, Mr. Kira, and Mr. James.
Wrong.
Uh,
The secondary agreement was accepted.
My
You
apologize, I honor, but I'm requesting two requesting together. So if one of them
denied.
has been refused, so
Denied.
it's all denied.
Denied. That is why I requested of you what seemed appropriate to you, and under your own terms, you clearly stated what you expected and what you wanted from each party, and we made rulings on those requests. Each party is a separate individual entity.
In this case, it can't be separated, my honor, because they
That
represented one
sorry,
organization.
no, they did not act on behalf of the organization. they acted on the behalf of separate departments.
They
And
didn't war. They weren't my honor. I apologize for several
huh?
times. But in this case, we were inside court, leading by DOG department, the judge, the parties who invited the both of parties, LSPD and SHB. One of them was a deputy governor, and the other is chief of all. So this case can't be separated because they are connected internally inside this case. So I can't leave a part and accept a part, and some part is confusion, not accepted, not denied. So it will be prepared a case and it will be offered on the Attorney General. Of course, we will respect his decision according to that.
it will unfortunately not be up to the Attorney General. The Attorney General is not a judge. He files a motion
Up-
based on your submission. He
That's
has
what I mean, my honor.
he has the
Motion
ability,
dismissal.
yes, he has the decision to collate and compile the documents you submit and file a motion with those same documents to the disposition of the Supreme Court. I am informing you now that, based upon your request, the formal request you made here to each individual party was presented. Since you originated that agreement and they accepted, it is mutually binding for
So we
those
must
that
know
agreed.
what is the internally decision will taken to other party.
That is not what you stated, Mr. Rabo. That is why I asked twice. And that is why
Your Honor,
I reiterate, just a second. I repeat back what I hear, right? To ensure and make not 100%, but 200% that in case of any miscommunication, that it's immediately recognized and due attempts were made to reiterate each word to ensure that I'm not misunderstanding a single point. And I reiterated each and single point. So
No, 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 no.
according to the required elements of a hearing, Kira has been exonerated, is not subject to the claim. Rick James has been subjected to internal administrative.
Objection, Your Honor. There is no
That you
grounds.
cannot object while I'm
There is no
speaking.
ground. There was no grounds for
You
that.
cannot object while I'm speaking. And I reiterated if that is what you were seeking. And you stated, yes, leave it up to you.
exactly, my honor.
Right. So
May I
that
speak,
was
Your Honor?
agreed, that was accepted. The only party that appears to decline moving forward with your request is Eva Marelli. And just like in any lawsuit, each party individually is a different case. Following your logic, the court, the Supreme Court, will reject said format if you name more than one entity in one suit. The court can only accept one suit per person, as each person is a separate entity, right? So now I seek, secondly, clarification according to the achievements we managed to achieve in this hearing. The only person subjected to declination of your agreement would be Eva Marelli, and that is the only party you are permitted to pursue further. Is that what you wish to do?
Can I explain my point of view, Mr.
Mr. Rabo, I fully understand your
I
point of view.
understand, and I am fully understand you what you are saying to me, my honor. But in this case, I can't separate Mr. James far away from this case.
I am
Be-
informing you with all due respect. If you attempt to file a subpoena or the court docket and you mention three individuals in one file, your file will be rejected upon submission.
okay, my honor. So Mrs. Eva, the party refused, right?
That's the only
So I,
person that
yeah,
was not in agreement with anything that you offered today.
yes, yes, yes. Okay. So I can offer another settlement because she refuses the first settlement
Correct.
before take it.
Yes, you can make a second request for a second agreement.
Yeah. So I'm requesting a suitable compensation
Okay.
for both state organization, LSPD and SAHB as well,
Okay.
for what happened and inviting us without any information about this court. It will be court hearing between LSPD and SAHB as well.
You can only make request on behalf of your own organization.
Never mind. Mr. James also here. Okay, I am offering on my organization, and Mr. James he can also confirm this.
Um, Your Honor, I would like to say something to Mr. Abo. Am I permitted?
Right after a response is provided by SAHP. SAHP.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, the thing is that we were summoned in the courthouse in such a way that LSPD has filed, something against us, or the LSPD has requested for our appearance. But after hearing all of this, I came to know that LSPD had never done anything. Even LSPD was unaware that what's going on. It was all done by the said parties, which is now, you know, here proved. And for that, I'm I'm also willing to be a part of the offer that Mr. Abu will offer, that Mr. Abu will represent.
Okay, and well, Mr. Rabo does not represent you, but he has implied that that is the wish of both of you equally. And
Yep.
I would seek clarification as to the validity of that. Are you also requesting monetary or financial compensation
Yes, obviously.
from the organization or from the individual?
Individual.
Oh, that was a
Yes,
question
individual.
for Mr. Jamesy.
Obviously, sir,
I am
individual.
speaking about my organization.
I'm sorry?
It's obviously from the individual. The
Okay.
organization isn't a part of it.
Well, a hearing is subjecting any party that you initiate claim for, and that would also seek, the court would also seek agreement from any entity that's involved. Now that it's clear what the second and last request is for, LSPD, you seek compensation in what amount?
2 millions for both organizations, my own.
How can you speak
For
on behalf of SAHP? This
No,
Your
he's
I'm
just
arises.
giving a
saying no.
suggestion.
This
Your
It's
Honor,
just a
arises.
I have
suggestion.
This is no, no. This is arising multiple question marks to me. If I
I will
have
repeat again, my honor. 2 millions for each organization. My mean is for LSPD side. Mr. Jamesy informed you, sir, that I represented him now inside the court.
no,
So that's why I told for each
no,
organization.
no, Mr. Abu. It was clearly, specifically announced and asked at the beginning stages of this hearing if if each entity sought after legal counsel or if they were to self-represent, and everyone present stated that they would be self-representing their own interests.
2 million for LSPD side, my honor.
But this arises a whole set of questions to the court now. Now the court is under the impression that you and SAHP have alluded to internal communications that the court is unaware of, and you have both agreed upon without any court hearing taking place prior to.
I can confirm it to that to you, my honor. Yes, we got a conversation before asking for a court hearing, before the court, by the way, because we discussed this matter together, me and Jamesy, and we are allowed to have a meeting together. And
I
this matter has, my honor, I wanted to explain my point of view.
I
If you let me,
understand, and the court thanks you for your honesty. However,
thank you.
Mr. Abu, I must apologize. As judiciary, if the court comes to know that the court is being utilized as a tool and has reason to believe such acts are taking place, it is clear that in any court capacity, hearing, trial of any sort, parties are prohibited from pre planning anything, as it is unjust and unfair.
We don't have this kind of information, my honor, my about this protocol of court hearing. We are not separated parties. We are included in a same playful area, us and SHB as well in one side. So we must approve which settlement that we will both approve to not
Your
get
Honor, objection.
confused during the court.
What is the basis of the objection?
I don't know.
The sheriff is not a party in this.
How so?
What do you mean?
It's not in court.
He's not in court.
I'm requesting to Mr. Dikalia, he separated himself from this case, so I think he can't allow it to attend.
He was
Also,
he, sure he was. However, he was offered the opportunity to remain. But yes, Mr. Kida, if you are to remain, it's under capacity only of audience, since you're not a party. Uh,
and my point
actually,
of view, why Mrs.
yep. Go ahead. Sorry,
Since we start the court,
sorry.
and I have a point of view, my honor, why Mrs. Ava didn't saying that or object that since we starting the court.
That's also a good rebuttal. Uh, Miss Hava, why did you wait until the final stages?
because Your Honor, he stated that SHP was wanting to listen, not be a party in the court. More
Who stated this? Who stated this?
Abo.
Said what? Excuse me.
I don't remember that.
The only
Can
person moving the court was Abu. Never, there was never stated in the courtroom that Mr. Dempsey will be moving the court.
True.
Never stated.
True.
no? I my bad, but I didn't understand the point. Can I understand more?
Sure. Initially, the reason behind why we are gathered, and that was announced at the initiation of the session, we're
Hmm.
here gathered today on a motion made by the movement Abu Saif. So, if SAHP wishes to move the court, it would have been stated initially.
But SHB got allowed to attend as audience.
Correct, but
Audience.
he's no longer in the stance of audience, according to you.
But my
He's
honor, you give him rights to saying his settlement opinion now.
yes, but the objection that is being raised at the moment is valid. So even if I have allowed it, the objection is nonetheless valid. If the objection would have not been made, no problem. But the
And I am wondering, Mrs. Ava, how did she speak while she is sleeping? She have a strong ability about that. If we are speaking about the matters who attending my honor, it will be not sorted any kind of settlement during this call. And what can I feel now? I can feel that there is kind of determined of a mistake, a big mistake, and I think the other side didn't recognize well what is this mistake. This mistake maybe will lead to immunity review with board against her with my full
Y-
respect.
Your Honor, can I just say something,
And we
please?
tried now to have a settlement according to this matter for not repeating again. So if I discovered that I make something wrong and I deny to say sorry for my ego or my not, I can't say sorry to anyone. So it will be leading to more conflict and more matters that can't be solved peacefully. So just an advice to every parties here. If they let me to say that from our side, LSPD side, we don't need any matters to get burned up more and more.
Sure,
Your Honor,
sure. The
Your Honor, can
attempt the
I?
attempt to a resolution is the whole purpose. Nonetheless, each party holds the freedom to agree or reject.
Sure, my honor. Of course.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Go ahead.
It was initially this was Alice PD that doing that is the initial party and did not mention any uh agreement to us with about SHP.
That objection is
okay, sir, I'm gonna be placing you under
sustained.
arrest. I'm gonna be dragging you by the arm, and I'm gonna
It's me,
escort you out
Sheriff.
of the courtroom.
Objection, my
It's
honor,
me.
of this matter,
Who
Mr.
is,
Ricky can
Who is
uh,
this?
who is
is
this?
not
It's me, Sheriff.
Oh, you are the sheriff? Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Alright.
objection, my honor,
Please
or
come
this
forward to the
behave
court
from
for
Mr. Rick
preliminary
James.
exam.
Mr. Rick James not allowed, sir, to acting or maybe without any judicial order from the judge who representative here. He acting now by taking
Jose,
action seriously.
He
I am
is
so tired,
James,
Jose. I
James,
really am. I'm
James,
trying,
James,
bro.
James, James,
I'm trying.
James, James,
This is
This,
targeting me, sir. This is
James,
targeting. This is
James,
annoying.
my honor, can we
James,
All right,
requesting
all
to
right, all right, Your
dismiss
Honor.
this
All right,
case,
Your Honor.
please?
I'm gonna
James,
recuse
James,
myself from the courtroom.
James.
My
I'm no longer gonna
James,
take part of this. I do
James,
apologize, and I am going to be
James,
drafting my
James,
letter, my letter for me
James,
to just recuse myself out of this case, and I'm
my
going
honor
to
James,
requesting to
proceed.
dismiss this court, please, on our honor.
James.
I'm not speaking
Do
to you. I'm
not,
speaking to the honor.
James, leave the
My
court.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
my honor, it's a
The
court hearing, not court
behavior, the
trial, right?
behavior, the behavior exhibited by the district court attorney general, I am ordering his immediate dismissal from DOJ.
Moody, move beside and make James come ahead. Move behind Moody. Moody,
Your Honor, as the
No,
judge,
no. This
no,
is,
Your Honor,
this
as
is
the judge
going,
department falls directly, as the judge department finally directly falls under you, and you lead the DOJ along with me. I don't need to, like, you do not need to request me or tell me anything. You can do it yourself
okay.
by direct.
Here is,
You have full permission authority, sir.
here is what I propose. Since the matter seems to be in a thread, I'm going to override every potential outcome and just directly make an offer. Since it appears that it could be a potential outcome, Abu Saif, I am going to dismiss Rick James from DOJ. He will be
I
fired.
don't have this authority.
He will be fired from DOJ. I've directly witnessed the behavior, and it is absolutely
No,
unacceptable. Is he still in here?
Nope.
Okay. It is absolutely unacceptable. The behavior was witnessed directly by everyone here. That is not a way a judge behaves. I am ashamed, personally, that a
On
judge
behalf
would
of the
allow.
DOJ,
Excuse me?
I'm sorry. I was just saying on behalf of the DOJ, as the Attorney General, I also say sorry for my DCJ's behavior. It was unprecedented for
X,
My
any
bad, my
X
professional.
DCJ.
XTC.
I'm
Uh,
sorry, Mr. Edward, for and it's kindful from, but this behavior not accepted to be. It's your internal decision by fired him as well. But we will take other legal decision. It will be shown to you also after this court, my honor.
This is your right and your decision, our decision. I have made it known to you.
so
Thank you, Mr. AG, for clarification. Thank you.
it appears, according to the claims made here, that the entire incident was facilitated, allowed, permitted as a court procedure under the proceedings of the court as the enabler. That at the end of the day, this is who it falls upon. If the court had not entertained the idea, if the court had not entertained the ability, and had not allowed it, we would not be here today. But the court allowed it. Abu Saif, do you agree that the sole responsibility fell on the district court? Had the district court said, no, I cannot do this, I will not do this, would we be here today? Would we?
I can confirm it, yes, in one case that Mrs. Ava recognized that this procedure happened inside the past court is completely wrong. But Mrs. Ava didn't recognize that. Mrs. Ava didn't notice that there is nothing wrong happened. That's
That's
a problem, my owner.
but that's not her statement. Those words that you uttered are not the words she said. She simply declined to provide you with an apology. She's not obligated to agree. For whatever reason, she didn't agree, and she's entitled to that decision. My question is, do you agree that if the district court would have not allowed it, would have not enabled it, would have not permitted it, we would not be here today? Is that a fair statement?
Yes, my owner, I agreed.
Okay. So in reality,
Modi, Modi, check this person. Modi,
Guys, we have uh,
the court, the doors is open.
US
Uh,
says the court is being invaded by normal people, normal citizens. Can you please take care of that and guard the gates, please?
Get out from this room, sir, please. Get out from this court, please. Sir,
God.
get out from this court.
Directly, no need to do anything else.
Give them 5
Make
seconds.
sure the doors
I
is open.
arrest them, put them in.
Just open the doors, please, sir. Close the doors, close. Yeah.
so regardless of intention, regardless of who the movement was, it is the responsibility of the court to establish.
Of course, my honor. That's what I was saying in my ending settlement about this matter. And Mr. Rick interrupted my speech. I can repeat what I noted on Mr. DZG, that Mr. DZG have the full responsibility of what happened because he knows well there is court hearing must be happened before taking approval from both sides, LSPD and the SHB. So when he received, as he claimed, a kind of order or a kind of request through Mrs. Ava, he must deny it at once because it's against the law procedure.
Okay.
So that's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
That just apologize for Mrs. Ava because she don't have
Okay.
the much knowledge about the law
Well,
much as Mr. Rick as a DCJ. That's what I wanted to be.
well. Um, Let me ask the Attorney General a question. Attorney General, he's muted. Let me.
He tried to control the court.
Yeah. I'll just provide a very quick. Yeah. Okay. Um, see if I can get his attention here. Through I see. Edward, how copy?
Good copy. Go ahead.
Mr. Edward, if and under the circumstances, if you can return to the conference.
I'm here.
Under the circumstances that we're under,
Yeah.
it pains me to have to fire Mr. Rick. It pains me in both realms, in the realm of judiciary and in the realm of friendship. However, in the pursuit of justice and what we represent as the Department of Justice, would it appear to you or would it seem unfair to also issue a blacklist from DOJ?
Um, that I will discuss, but first of all, before firing or doing anything, we need to first revoke his lawyer license.
Certainly.
That's the first thing. Blacklisting from the DOJ, I will need to think about it and discuss with you in a private session. What
Again,
after.
yes, as the chief of staff of the single organization, I all
Yes.
again say, why are we discussing these things with other organizations being present in the conversation? Can we just
To
get to the matter at
to
hand?
to
Thank
because it is directly pertaining the matter.
Your
Uh,
Honor, can I say something?
sure.
I do not like the fact that Abel is undermining my knowledge about
That's
DOJ.
that's okay. Remember that this is not a trial
Oh, I remember this.
Wrong person.
and that any personal opinions are disregarded, whether they are implied, direct, or indirect. So they are stating their opinion.
I'm apologize for this, my honor, and I apologize, really apologize to Mrs. Ava. I didn't mean any bad meaning about that. I was just clarifying that the full responsibility is falling on the judge who accepted this kind of court,
So
not meaning
then,
that you don't have
so
knowledge,
then, so
my
then, Mr. Saif, then the response should have been simply that,
yes, of course not.
rather than the unnecessary comments implying lack of knowledge or anything of the sort. Of
I
course,
didn't
it's your.
mention any lack of knowledge, my honor. I didn't say lack of knowledge. I
You
just
did.
say it, and I will repeat what did I say. No, not lack. I said that Mr. Rick have the more knowledge because he is the DCG part, and the Mrs. Ava maybe don't have the same knowledge of Mr. Rick because Mr. Rick